Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back to Unexplained Archives. I'm Jaime.
Hello, I am Jen. Good to have you
Yeah.
back.
It's awesome to be back again. This is week number 6. We're on a roll.
We are on a roll.
Yeah.
I heard a statistic, like if you can make it past, I think, 3 episodes, like most people stop after 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
we're ahead of the curve.
Oh,
then.
we're way ahead of the curve. We've done that.
Yeah. So how was your week?
My week was good. There were some big paranormal headlines, though, this week.
There was.
Kind of crazy news. This week it came out that Ghost Adventures, one of the ghosty guys on there, Aaron Goodwin, his wife put out a hit on him. So yeah, I'm a little shook by this.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So what do you know about it? What's some of the scoop on that?
So, I've talked about this before. Everyone knows I love my mystery stories, right? I like the ghost hunters. I like all the stuff. I love Ghost Adventures. To me, like Ghost Adventures is kind of like the Real Housewives, though, of the paranormal shows. It is by far the most dramatic. Like if you want, you want a little drama, you watch Zach Bagans and the boys, because they are the ones like, they're in the house. Everything's demonic, by the way. Like it doesn't matter where you're at. There's a demon in there.
Yeah.
And my favorite is when they're like, "Did you hear that? Shut up!" Like everyone's quiet. Did you hear that? And then they're like, "You should shut up." When they're trying to answer the question. So it's I love it. I do. I can't help it. I really enjoy it. So Aaron is one of the team members of Ghost Adventures. If you haven't seen it out there, now Aaron has been married for just a little over 2 years to his wife Victoria. And from what I understand, he received a phone call from the police saying that they discovered that there was a hit out on him and his wife is the culprit. Apparently, what happened was Victoria had reached out to an inmate down in Florida by the name of Grant Amato. When I heard his story, I thought, man, this sounds really familiar, that name situation. So I love true crime as well. So when I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've heard this on a true crime podcast. So Grant Amato is in jail right now because he killed his parents and his brother because he was in a online relationship, if you will, with a cam girl.
Okay.
And giving her money upwards to, I think it was like $200,000. His parents were trying to get him help so he wouldn't keep paying this woman. But even though he just couldn't stop. And so he needed more money to keep their relationship going, because you know how that goes, and ended up murdering the whole family. So apparently Aaron's wife had seen a documentary on this guy and decided, I think I should be friends with him. He sounds.
Yeah, I think she picked the right guy.
Yeah,
for sure.
He sounds like a good one.
He checks all the boxes.
He checks all those boxes. And so she reached out to him like a pen pal and started conversation. And it came out in conversation that she would like to have Aaron dead. Now, she knew that he wouldn't be able to do it because he's in prison for life. But maybe he might know somebody who could help her out with her problem. And apparently he did. Now they're communicating on a cell phone. You're not supposed to have cell phones in prison, but sometimes they do get a hold of them, right? So, so he's got his contraband phone, and that's how they're communicating. And I mean, in a sense, thank goodness, because this is how they got caught. So they were discussing, plans to do it. They were actually planning to have this hitman do it while he was shooting Ghost Adventures last fall.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
He knew his location, and they were going to
blame it on the demon.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly right. I'm sure, right? I mean,
Yeah.
wherever they were, it was demonic, no doubt,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, she had even paid him, like they were going to pay the hitman to combined. Grant and Victoria were going to, I don't know how Grant is getting money still, especially with his entire family dead, but he's got some money apparently, and they were going to put it together. They were going to pay the hitman about $11,000 to do this. And Victoria went ahead and paid Grant. She sent him a $2,500 down payment for this. So, I mean, she meant business.
Yeah.
But the phone got confiscated, thank goodness.
Okay. I was wondering how
It
they
all
were
came down.
tipped off on that. Yeah.
Yes. Now, I don't know what happened last fall when it didn't happen, when Aaron, thank goodness, wasn't murdered. But it didn't happen. So, but they
So
got
at that time, they'd only been married for a year, right? Or was this just you talking about like last fall, like a few months ago?
Yes.
Okay.
So, 2024. This is
Okay.
from what I understand. They got a hold of the phone then, and so they looked through this phone and discovered who he was contacting, what was happening. So then they immediately reached out to Aaron about the situation. So I mean, this story would be wild no matter what, right? I mean, this is like what. But the thing that's getting me, because I am a Ghost Adventures fan, is like Aaron is like the sweet one. Like he's the funny, happy-go-lucky. He's the one that Zach sends to the basement and locks the door. Like they're always letting Aaron do the dirty work. He's that guy. He's everybody loves Aaron. Like people write Zach and tell him lay off Aaron, right? Everyone loves Aaron.
Yeah.
And so I follow Aaron on Instagram and I've seen the pictures. I remember when he kind of was like, hey, I'm dating this girl, and they would post these pictures and they just seem so happy. He proposes to her in front of Cinderella's castle in Disneyland. Once again,
the Disney connection.
Disney. Thank you. And apparently they got married at the Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
I mean, they're living my dream is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, how can this get any better, right? And they're always posting, and they're just seem so sweet and so happy. And I get it. Social media is
right.
Everyone puts up a front. However, like that's a huge front to put up. Like murder.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I don't know. And we don't know the situation. I don't know what their marriage is like. We don't really know. But no matter what was going on, like putting out a hit.
I know. That's insane.
It's wild.
It is. I think that it might be too soon, but when things calm down, you should just reach out and be like, I like Disney and I'd be a much better girlfriend.
Be like, I'm available, Aaron, and I love Disney. No, poor Aaron is probably never dating again. I'm sure. He's over it. Yeah. I was reading some of the comments too. They were like, don't ever date again, Aaron. Like, women are crazy. Like, So, no, Aaron is probably taking a very long break from dating. But
I don't see him on the apps anytime soon.
No, I don't either. That poor guy. I mean,
that's scary.
It is so scary. And I can't imagine, like, what a shock. Like that has to be, you think somebody.
Right.
And this happens. Now, I will say his wife was saying that I think that she was kind of having feelings for Grant Amato, which like, I just, how do you go from like Aaron Goodwin to being like, oh, that guy that killed his entire family?
Yeah.
Like,
there's some people that are just, that's their guy is the con, is the criminal. There's a whole reality series that was done on women that want to date people that are incarcerated. Like it's, I don't understand, but
I don't get that.
I mean, to each their own, I guess.
I guess so
So,
too. And, and there's part of me that's like, maybe that's just a front for her too, because if she's like, oh, well, I fell in love and, we were just, because what she's saying is that she's pleading not guilty, right? She's saying like, I didn't do it. She has been arrested. She's on $100,000 bond. No one has coughed up the money for that one yet. Thank goodness. I just don't think she should be amongst us. So she's still there, but she is, saying, I didn't, no, this is all a misunderstanding. I was just fantasizing with Grant when we were telling these things. Aaron and I were having trouble and I was just saying these things. And I'm just like, lady, you're carrying on a conversation with a convicted murderer.
yeah.
And you're sharing this stuff. And the bottom line is she put a down payment on
Right.
it. So
Right.
this is no misunderstanding. She
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
did. But it's just so hard to it's so hard to picture because, like I said, Aaron is he's the fun-loving, goofy guy. And
Yeah.
if you're not getting along, if it's that bad, just get a divorce.
Right. You don't have to go that far.
Right?
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Maybe he brought home a demon and it got into her.
Yeah. Well, funny you say this. Along those lines, this is Aaron's second marriage.
Okay.
He was married to a woman before he got started in the paranormal business, if you will. Now, Ghost Adventures' very first episode was at a place called Bobby Mackey's, which is in Kentucky, which is notoriously haunted, like real bad stuff. And it's been known, like if you go and you're doing like real ghost hunting at night there, or even kind of work there, if you're there for any length of time, it's been known the spirits there will kind of come home with you.
Oh.
So there is an episode of Ghost Adventures where they kind of talk about their experience after leaving Bobby Mackey's the first time, that all of them experienced not good things when they came home from Bobby Mackey.
Oh, wow.
And so Aaron's first wife was like, I can't live like this. I'm not going to do this. And I think there was kind of a choice of, you're going to have to give up this job or I got to go because I can't be in constant contact with, this type of spirit, like it's
Oh, wow.
constant hauntings.
Maybe there's something there.
So,
Interesting.
maybe Aaron did bring home something.
Maybe. Yeah.
Now she's crazy.
Wow. That's a wild story. I cannot. I mean, when you told me about it, I hadn't heard about it until you had sent me the link, and I'm like, oh my God, that's just nuts. Yeah.
The news just kind of came out this week. So when this airs, the news came out last week.
Right. It'll be old news by then, but that's okay.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk about it just because, we talk about the paranormal.
Right.
Like I said, I talk about my love of all the mystery stories. And so, and I've been watching Ghost Adventures for a long time. And it's just so strange to think like this is happening,
Yeah.
You got the proposal on a
nuts.
castle, man. You stick with the guy that proposes in front of Cinderella's castle.
I know.
Kill him.
That's wrong.
That's my PSA for this week. Don't try to kill the guy that proposes in front of Cinderella's castle.
Yeah, no.
Hold on.
Not cool. Not cool. Awesome.
So that's my big story for the week. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I had a really fun and exciting week too. So we've talked a little bit about my haunted house in Arkansas.
Yes.
It was featured on on A Haunting on the Discovery Channel. And I actually got to interview with Austin Kraska, and he has the Ghost Files on YouTube. He's a documentarian, and I got to interview with him and tell my real story, which was awesome. And he was a great guy. And what's really exciting is he's our guest today. So I'm super excited about that. Guest number 2. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It was
to have him. Because I remember you telling me like, okay, he reached out about, telling my story too. And well, maybe he can come on and talk about all his cool experiences on our show.
Yeah.
We're lucky enough to have him today.
Yes, I'm so excited. So I'm sure we'll get more into the things that we discussed in the interview, but yeah, it was great. They came here and we shot it in my house, and I got to retell the stories, which was, it had some ups and downs because there were some very disturbing things that happened, and kind of reliving that, brought up some crazy memories, but it was a really great experience, and it was wonderful to work with them. So I'm excited to have Austin on the show.
All right.
So do we want to bring him in?
Let's bring him in.
All right. All right. Let's go.
Hey, how's it going,
Austin?
Guys?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you
guys today?
Good.
Doing good.
Yeah. All caffeinated and feeling good.
Me too.
I don't know if I am enough yet, but that's okay. Still early.
Yeah, you almost can't be enough until you overdid it.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Like you go until you're like, wait, that was way too much.
Yeah.
It's like too late.
You can't sleep.
There's no going back after that.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you a coffee drinker, Austin?
I drink this energy drink called Celsius, but it's actually yeah, it's supposedly like really good for you. So I used to drink like Monster and all that garbage, but
yeah.
Celsius is
it's definitely like the healthier option. I like coffee too, but
that's good.
I'm not like, I used to make coffee, but then I just kind of got too lazy to where I didn't want to make it anymore. So
no, I hear that.
Yep.
I didn't know what Celsius was, and this wasn't long ago, and I had this really long day of flying, and I was after a long trip, and I got off the plane and I was super thirsty, and so I went to the vending machine in the airport, and all I wanted to do was sleep when I got home. But I was like, Celsius, that looks good. So I got that, and I was jacked up for hours after that. I did not sleep for so long. So yeah, it works. It definitely works. Yeah. It's good though. I like it.
Good stuff. It is good stuff.
It is.
I recommend it.
Okay, and this is a good time to let the good people of Celsius know that we are all open to sponsorship for both
That's
of our
yeah, right. Thank you so much again for being here. You have some exciting news too, I think. So you have the Ghost Files on YouTube, and your latest video just got 1 million views. That's pretty awesome.
Right. Yeah, it is really, it's like a surreal experience because I've never hit 1 million views on YouTube. And I have a TikTok page, and I've gotten 1 million views on there, but TikTok's like, you just scroll and scroll, and
right.
But on YouTube, you actually have to click on the video, so it means a lot more to me that a lot of people kind of decided to watch what I created, and I got a lot of positive comments. I like a lot more positive comments than negative, but of course, with anything you put online and it goes kind of like to that length, you're gonna get some people that just, like the skeptics all come in and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you gotten prayers yet? We get lots of prayers for the things.
Yeah, I get a lot of people leaving Bible verses and like read this and do this.
Yes.
All the time.
Well, we appreciate their good thoughts. However, we're still going to talk about the creepy stuff.
That's right. Yeah. We even got a little bit of hate mail from Canada.
You did.
Yeah, but it wasn't
terrible, but it still kind of broke my heart because I love Canada.
What happened? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, there was some posts. They left a couple, like one was like a meme of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And we also got it was like a picture of the United States with the circle and the cross around it, anti-America. And then there was a whole paragraph on how people should not be watching us because we are American, and they should not be supporting us, due to the fact that everything that's going on politically. And so I was a like, come on, guys, we're new. Like,
yeah,
Yeah,
give us a
that's
chance.
extreme.
Come
That's
on.
extreme.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop trying to get rid of the, our 2-person fan base right now. Canada, geez. Like,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
odd.
we love you, Canada. Watch our
that's
show.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna encounter that with whatever you put out there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. You're always going to there's always just trolls. Like, there's professional people who just go around and do this, which I'll never understand. Not ever. And you're just going to get people who just don't feel like being nice, and that's okay. It's going to happen. But I will say, and we had our guest on last week too, and we kind of discussed this. I think, and I feel very positive saying this for your show as well, Austin, that there's more happy, positive comments, more comments of like, this is awesome, than, that this is terrible. Right.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely noticed that. Like I love all the positive comments, and I try to reply to as many as I can, but over time it's just gotten really hard. So I think um I'm thinking about adding some people as moderators to my comments, like people that have just like commented positive things like over like the past year.
That's a
Uh
great.
yeah, so I think I'm gonna do something like that. But yeah, I don't like let the negative comments get to me that much. I mean, I've kind of learned to just accept it, and like people are gonna say what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean there is some really crappy things people have said, but I mean at the end of the day, I do have a lot of people that support me and like what I do and leave like a lot of good positive comments too. So I don't let, that overshadow
Yeah.
that fact.
No, that's great. That's good. That's the way it should be. Because we love your channel. Jamie
Thank
and I
you.
have been checking out videos, and I mean, this is not your run of the mill, throwing this stuff up on YouTube stuff. These are quality documentary projects. Obviously some stories are longer than others, but these are fantastic stories. So, we can't say enough good stuff about what you're
Thank you so
out there.
much. It means a
Yeah.
lot to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fantastic. And I know it's one of the reasons why Jamie was like, yeah, I'm going to do this interview with him, because, she was like, I'm checking it all out and this is really good. So yeah,
Thank you.
it's
Yeah,
quality,
definitely.
quality
I've
project.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of people reach out to me over the years since A Haunting came out.
Hmm.
And some of it is just I don't know. I think they were just fanning, being fans. But so I didn't know. I didn't know until I checked out your channel, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is legit. This is the good stuff right here. And I was so excited to see that you wanted to tell people's real stories and get the actual truth.
Right.
So can you tell us a little bit about your channel and your projects and how you got started, and kind of, where you started and how you ended up doing this?
So basically, it all started in the beginning of 2020 when COVID kind of really hit. At the time, I was going to school like at a local community college, and I didn't know going out of high school what I wanted to do or anything like that. Like I knew like stuff in medical and business would make me like a lot of money, but and so I was going to school for business initially, and I think my first semester like I just like kind of failed all my classes. And then so I went back the second semester and I passed everything, but then I decided like I hated like what I was doing at this like for school or whatever, studying.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there I went well, I think this is around the time I started my YouTube channel, but it was I was going to abandoned places, like I was just filming like abandoned houses and seeing if I could find something cool inside the house, because I don't know, like I've seen some pretty cool YouTube videos like when I was growing up of like people finding like crazy things or like just like time capsules when they walk into these places. So I was just trying to like hunt out those types of things. And I had no clue about like filmmaking or anything like that. Like I was just kind of like, I think my or first or second videos is just like one giant cut. Like it's just not, it's not even cut anywhere in the video. So, yeah. So from there I went to an HVAC school where I stayed for like a couple months, and then I just dropped out before I had to pay anything because I wasn't enjoying it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So then I just worked like a part-time job. I worked at Arby's for a while. I was door dashing a lot, and I was still like uploading on YouTube, but I was always trying to like up my game. Like I was always trying to like learn new things I could implement into the videos. But it was tough because there was like points where I definitely like thought, well, I should just like stop putting my time into this and just go do something that's going to make me some money. So like there was definitely those points where I thought about that and where it wasn't doing anything for me. So it was really like a long, but I enjoyed it. So my main goal was always to like do like kind of like paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, I didn't have the resources. Like I had no film equipment. I had no knowledge of how to do any of this stuff. So as time went on, I started going to like haunted places, and I got some ghost equipment and stuff and started investigating these places because I felt like I had a pretty good knowledge on paranormal, and like I kind of knew about a lot about it because I researched it growing up and stuff, or I thought I did. But so I started investigating these places, and like I was at the time, like I really became interested in editing and like how the video comes together and stuff. So almost like, I don't know, it seemed like a lot. I was just like on YouTube looking up how to do different things and like how to pull off different techniques and stuff. Like, um, and it's just get to the point where I am now, it's just like a big culmination of just like learning and wanting to learn, because I feel like if you don't want to do this stuff, then it's there's no way you're gonna be able to like learn everything that goes into it, because I had to learn about audio and just like you know, I'm sure Jennifer knows because she's a producer, but just so much that goes into one project, especially like what I do now, because I'm kind of a perfectionist at for editing, at least. Like I
That's
take it
good.
very seriously. So I try to make the cleanest cuts and the timing the best it can possibly be.
Yeah.
No one else is revising my project, so it's just me. So I go through and revise everything like 5 times. Like I'll do the audio like 5 times, and then I'll do the video like 5 times, and I'll take like a full week to revise it or get it to how I want it to be. Like after like a month's work goes into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know it's
Well,
kind of a lot to unload. It's a lot to explain, I guess, all in one kind of
yeah, no,
question.
I just want to say that was one thing that just blew me away about your channel and all of your documentaries that you have on there. They are so well done. I mean, they're so well put together. It looks so professional. I thought you had a team of people working with you, and it blows my mind that it's just you. And now I'm even more blown away that you taught yourself basically how to do all this stuff. That takes so much just persistence, and I'm totally impressed. It's such good quality. I've seen people that have gone to school for years and years for film and audio that don't even come anywhere close to the quality of your videos. So well done. Yeah, it sounds like this was what you were meant to do.
Yeah,
means
for
a lot to
sure.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I always thought I was like more the artistic type, but
Uh-huh.
living in Ohio, I kind of thought about like maybe I could go to school for film or something, but my thought process was, well, if I get a degree and waste my time getting this degree, well, I don't know if I'm wasting my time, but if I spend my time getting that degree, then I might just end up working for like a local news station or something. Like,
Right.
and that's just not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I get that 100%. I studied video production at a community college, and then I went on to Full Sail University, and my degree was, I guess, technically in cinematography. But there's always that debate, film school or no film school, right? And I think what it boils down to is like either you have it or you don't have it. I mean, you can get some equipment. I'm telling you, I learned more when I got some equipment, especially editing, when I could just sit there and just mess around with it. We had in school like books that we'd have to work through, and we're supposed to be learning the editing process while doing going through these workbooks. But like, as soon as I was able to get a computer of my own and got the editing software, and I just started doing it, I was like, I'm learning way more, just messing around. And I'm telling you, I think is the absolute best way. You have to get in it. You have to be in it. There's no people can sit there and preach at you and tell you how to do it, but it's not really till you are in it. And everyone has their own style, right? So that's hard to teach. Like, so you've done it like very, very well. Like, you've got the stuff, you learned how to do it, and it shows in your product. And I know it does because you've got 1 million views. If you were terrible, they'd stop watching.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
thank you. It
Yeah.
truly means a lot. Like, I can't really put into words how much it means to hear that coming from people in the field. Like, I truly appreciate that, and I'll remember you guys saying that. So thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
you're so welcome.
You should. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well
yeah.
deserved.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, how did you get interested in the paranormal? I mean, did
Well,
something happen to you as, when you were younger, or is just something that you were always drawn to?
I'd say it's something more I was drawn to. I
Okay.
never had any experiences growing up. I was more of actually like a skeptic.
Okay.
Um, my family was always religious and stuff, but was always told, those things do exist, but being a kid, it's just you want more answers. Like,
Right.
I don't know. So coincidentally, actually, when I first became interested in the paranormal was when I was probably between the age of like 5 and 10, when
Hmm.
my mom would watch this show called A Haunting. And so yeah, so um that was like kind of where I got interested, because they would share like these really crazy stories. And um I don't know, like I wanted to know like if this stuff was really happening. And um I don't know, like that kind of piqued my interest in itself, I guess.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. You just wanted the answers, and I feel like that's still what drives you now
Right,
for
right.
your
Yeah,
channel. You want to
yeah,
know, that what's really happening here. So
right, right.
I think that's great, and it
And
shows. I mean, it seems like you have a passion for it, for getting the real story out there. So we love it.
definitely. Yeah, I like to, because I was always like wondering if this stuff happens. I wanted to share people's experiences, like with what I do now. I wanted to share people's experiences. And um, because the more, for me personally, the more you hear or the more you interview these people and you hear their stories, there's a lot of similarities in some of them, but not like the whole story isn't always similar. But there's little things like that are similar, like when you open a door and then the noises all stop or something like that. It's
Right.
just, it makes you really question, like, how could all these people be making up the same exact thing, and these people don't even know each other, and these are stories that aren't really like publicly out there, because I try to go for ones that, you know, maybe were like, I'm really into the haunting stuff, but I try to go for stories that weren't really told properly or just haven't been out there as much in the public eye.
Right. Now, are you primarily interviewing people from the show The Haunting, or do you have other avenues that you're exploring as well?
So a lot of people do ask me to do the haunting stuff now, but
Okay.
so I do plan on doing a few more of those. They're really hard to find though. Like
The people,
the
it's hard to find
show,
the people to
yeah,
interview. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And like I've reached out to a lot of people that have just turned me down too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like, or just don't answer at all. And I don't
Yeah.
know if it's because they didn't get my message or if they don't want to be a part of it or what, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really tedious process when researching these things, because I also want to pick a story that I feel is good enough to put all this time into.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it's hard sometimes, like just keeping the ball rolling.
Right.
Oh, sure.
Do you have several projects lined up? Do you know what your next, 4 or 5 projects are? Or is this something that you kind of just what falls in your lap, reaching out to people and then someone gets back to you and you're like, okay, let's do it? Or do you
Uh,
know ahead of time?
so um I'm trying to pick people that kind of live in like the Midwest area right now,
Okay.
because it's kind of hard to travel to, like, say California or something.
Right.
There is stories in California and like Utah and stuff like that that I want to do, but it's just I don't know how to get around flying with all this equipment. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have to get like 6 carry-on bags or something. Like,
Yeah.
I try to choose stories where there's a lot of like, I don't know how to put it, like things that don't usually happen or you don't hear about in other paranormal stories, or just like a lot of little things that are really out there that added up to like a big climax or something.
Right.
Um, and so like what I was saying before is, just for like an example, one of the things that I noticed, because I'm in the beginning of like writing this script, and when Jamie moved in her house, her and Ben discovered um, like ritual paraphernalia in one of the rooms upstairs. So I thought that was pretty, just one of the more creepy things that happened, that kind of led up to all the paranormal stuff that happened in the house. And
Yeah.
um not saying that's like the creepiest thing that happened, but I just thought, like little things like that happen in the story that are really out there, just make the story even like more unique.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Is there any common theme that you've noticed in your interviews? Like this happens at every single house that I've
That's a good question.
investigated. Yeah.
um I go back to what I was saying earlier about like the door opening. I think
Mhm.
I've had, say, about 2 people say that, like they would hear like talking or something coming from another room, and then they would go to open the door and it would completely stop. And I think I've heard
Mhm.
that twice,
Okay.
but I don't think, can't think of anything else off the top of my head. But
Okay. I was
I'll
just
think about it.
curious because I hear a lot about doors and cabinet doors and voices, and it just seems like and maybe shadowy figures, but I didn't know if this was something that was kind of across the board or if everyone kind of has their own weirdness going on in their houses. So I
Now, now that you said that, actually, the shadowy figures is pretty common. I've
okay.
probably heard that from I've probably done 3 full-length documentaries that I consider, like, for the paranormal, that I
Uh-huh.
consider, like, since I started doing this. I did a woman last year, her name was Cindy Sorrow,
Yeah.
and, she's, like she was the top video of my channel until the one I released, like, a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago, but, she had a really unique story as well, and she saw the shadowy figures and stuff like that, and, just, I don't know, like, a lot of stuff happens to different people that but their stories are different in a lot of ways too, like, it's not like they're copying each other. It's
Right.
just, it seems like a common occurrence in the paranormal world for some of these things, and I think that's just the way it is. I mean, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Um, I was also curious, have you actually shot any of the interviews in the actual haunted houses, or has it been at a different location every time?
So there was just one that I think I shot in the actual house it happened in, and that was which was actually on a haunting.
Okay.
This was his name was Josh Thompson, and this was probably my video from 2 months ago. The Thompson family.
Hmm.
They were on a haunting season 2, but their family, when they appeared on the show, they did like the shadow interviews, and their names
Oh, okay.
yeah, their names were changed and stuff.
Okay.
So, but I really wanted to get that story because, personally, that was like one of my favorite episodes, and I heard in the episode it's like featured in Kentucky, so I knew that was like just a state over from me.
Yep.
So I
Right.
started doing like everything I could to like research their story, and I was actually able to find it on that Wayback Machine I was telling you
Okay.
about. Yeah, so the mother actually wrote on this paranormal forum in like 2002 or something like that. So I reached out to the son, but the mother had passed away. But I reached out to the son and they said they'd do an interview, and the dad still lived in the house where everything happened in the
Wow.
story. But
Wow.
apparently, like they had a big cleansing or something, and
Hmm.
after the cleansing, it was fine, I guess. So
Okay.
he's been living there for like 30 years or something like that.
That
Wow. It
trouble.
is
Yeah.
so impressive that you can find these people even though their names were changed, and you must have some really good investigating skills. So
That was definitely the toughest one to find because their names were changed. But I looked for that specific story for a long time before I was able
okay.
to find it. And I think I'm the first person on the internet or anywhere to like publicly put that story out there with like the real details and names, and you can actually see their faces and stuff.
Oh, that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
do
I
you
was
know
gonna.
why they decided to have the shadow interviews the first time
Um
around?
yeah, so I asked them and they said that so the premise of the story was it was this couple and they had a child, and he was probably about 4 or 5 years old, and he started experiencing some really weird things like almost like possession type things. So I guess for the safety of him, because he was still
Mhm.
in school and stuff, they just changed their names and did the blackout interviews.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Totally.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched that. That story is so wild because, he was such a little guy when all this stuff was happening, but the things that were like coming out of his mouth or the things that he was doing was just way like not what like your average child is going to say or do. So, yeah, it's always interesting the whole little kids and their imaginary friends,
Yeah.
gotta wonder.
Yep.
Another thing I noticed, I just thought I'd bring this up, is I thought it was weird because they did shadow interviews, but they were probably the only people that said a haunting actually did their story good.
I noticed that
Really?
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
that struck me. They were the only ones I heard, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, they got it right." And I was like,
Wow.
yeah.
It's like the people that were like hidden get their story corrected,
Yeah.
but the people that are out there, like it doesn't. I don't know. I didn't get that when I realized
That's so
that.
strange.
Yeah. What I find interesting about the I'm sorry, Jaime.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
What I find interesting about the episodes from A Haunting, and I get it. I know, stuff sells. You got to amp it up, right? For the drama of it all. But the thing is knowing Jaime's story, hearing the stories that you have been doing on your channel, I thought, boy, they really didn't have to dramatize. If they stuck to the story, the real stuff is scary enough.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
it's not needed for the other things. So I found that interesting. If they would have stuck to the story with, just, and these are just, a handful that you have found and that are on your channel too. I mean, I'm just like, boy, you probably didn't have to ramp that up anymore. It's good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's what Jennifer was telling me, who I interviewed in my last documentary, was saying that they probably improvised a lot of things in the acting,
Yes.
like last second, because she actually said that the actor that played her reached out to her. She said this in the video. I don't know if you guys watched it, but she said that she reached out to her and said that there was a lot of things in the script that weren't like originally in there, that they like added in the revisions or something like that, or improvised, or I don't know how the whole acting thing works, but something along those lines, and that was pretty shocking to hear.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that too. And I wasn't sure how much that happened where the actors actually get to talk with the real people. Jaime, you didn't talk with any
No.
actors. Yeah.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They needed to come stay with you for like a week.
Yeah.
The actress that played Jaime, she needed to get that Arkansas accent. She didn't have that.
I know. She didn't draw out her, like she didn't say Ben. She said Ben,
Right. If she had only spent like a week staying in your home, she would have had that down.
Exactly. I know. She was too scared. She didn't want to stay there.
Yeah.
I don't blame her. No, I'm just kidding. I never heard from any of the actors. Okay. Yeah.
There's
interesting about, I was going to say, I just thought that was interesting in Jennifer's case that the actress had reached out to her. So,
which I think that's probably a good thing, to try to portray it a little more, realistically, but it didn't happen for mine.
Do you guys want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Jaime's experience. We haven't really told the full story of Jaime's experience.
And I think I don't want to tell too much because I want people to go and watch it on the Ghost Files on Austin's channel.
Yeah.
But is there anything that stood out to you, Austin, from my interview? I mean, how were you surprised at some of the things I said that did not line up with the episode of The Haunting?
Yeah, so I was surprised at a lot of things. There's kind of a lot of things going through my head, but a lot of things that I thought were really weird is how they kind of changed minimal details, like details that didn't matter or didn't contribute to the end of the story, I guess, or where the story was going to go. Like how, for example, I think they kind of worded around it, but they said that Jaime's husband, Ben, was working nights as a nurse, which was true, but he was also working for a degree, but they didn't specify that the degree was in theater or something like that. Like it was kind of, they kind of gave the viewer the impression that he was going to school for nursing or something.
Yeah.
And I guess like it doesn't really matter, like I was saying, but I just thought that was weird that they wouldn't include that. Or there was some other really small things I noticed. I'm sure Jaime knows off the top of her head better than I do.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was weird that, like, some of the names, they changed the names of the town.
That
The
too,
town
yeah.
that I lived, the town where I worked. And I don't know. I didn't think that was necessary. Did they do that? Did the haunting do that for everyone's story or just mine? Because I thought it was very strange. But
so I've been researching a lot of the stories, and I think they do keep. I think it depends on what the person that they're interviewing tells them they can or can't do. Because I've noticed a lot where it's like a town a few towns over, or sometimes it is the exact town, because I'll try to find the house and everything to, like, put it all together. But yeah, I think it just depends on the privacy, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't remember them asking us anything about it, but I don't know. I just think they made some really strange choices.
I wonder, like, the only thing I can think of is, like, maybe I don't know, Lamar. They didn't want to say the word Lamar. I just don't know. I can't think of anything else that would be a reason for that.
Right. I remember asking about it, and the producer I talked to said they just didn't want, since we were going to be living in the house again, they didn't want people just to show up unannounced to be like, oh, let's check out the haunted house, so which I do appreciate that. But
you do.
I don't know.
Tourists who like to come around and check out the real deal. I can't even imagine people who live at like Amityville, the traffic that comes through. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. We used to get a lot of drive-bys, like people driving by really slow, because once it got out, I mean, there were, people saw the episode. It's a very small town. So people knew us, and it's easy to find out where we lived, and so we would have people just all the time, just locals just driving by and, checking it out. So
it could have been worse if they used the real town name.
Yeah. Because then people would be coming from all over probably.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So when did we decide? I'm so bad with timelines, but we decided that episode was shot when of A Haunting for Mine.
I think it released late 2007.
Yeah, 2007. That's crazy. Yeah. And to this day, at least every few months, I have people still reach out to me asking me questions, just random people that I don't know. They track me down on social media and ask me questions. Yeah.
Wild.
It's interesting.
I saw the episode was posted on YouTube now, so maybe that's why.
It is. Yeah. It is. Mm-hmm.
People are going back and rewatching and
yeah. So yeah, it's still haunting me to this day.
Yeah, Jamie, you might be doing this for the rest of your life. You never know.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right.
Jamie, you should write a book.
Talking about it.
Oh, I've told her. I wish that she would write a book. Or just write a script. We could turn it into a movie.
Yeah.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah. People love a true horror story.
Yeah, so true.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do something in like the next 10 years where like with actors and stuff, and like kind of like a haunting, but make it real, and then I submit it to like film festivals and stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're on your way to that.
You are.
Yeah. Be sooner probably rather than later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like you could submit what you have to a documentary festival and do amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. Really great work. Yeah.
Thank you so
was
much.
there anything else that surprised you about my story or?
Yeah, just your story just really stuck out to me because I don't know, it was just really like an odd, like in the order of events, how everything happened and the timeline was just really something I haven't seen in other stories, because you would say that the activity would go on for months, but then it would stop for months, like after, and then when it would come back, it would be even stronger. But I've never heard about a haunting going away for months and then coming back like multiple times. Like that's
this went on for years. Yeah,
that really stuck out to me. And just there's so much in the story, but the car crash stuck out to me, not even if it's not necessarily paranormal, but I think that the fatigue that the house was placing on you was kind of maybe had an impact on what happened that day.
Yeah, definitely.
And
100%. Yeah, it was a heaviness, you know. It was
the baby monitor. I mean,
oh yeah.
That was weird. I've never dealt with anything like that, with like a baby monitor kind of coming through like a phone or anything. Like that's kind of like a first for me.
Right.
That was unique. I thought it was interesting how Ben was a skeptic, but then, towards the end, as the story progressed, he became more of a believer himself. So, that kind
I mean,
of,
after so many things happen, it's hard. It's hard
yeah,
to deny
it's hard
it.
to just think about it off the top of my head. But it's just, there was a lot of things also that told me that, this is probably a real true story, and I should do this story.
Well, I'm so glad you did. It was a really fun interview, and I appreciate you taking the time to like tell the true story, or make sure the true story gets told. So
yeah, of course. I know we had to do the interview 2 nights, but I'm pretty confident I can make it look seamless.
Oh, I bet you've got it.
Yeah.
You can. That's funny because that same day we recorded our last podcast, and we had a lot of technical issues that day too.
We did.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Maybe you brought a ghost in with you or something, and just messing with our technology that day. I don't know.
I hope not, but I didn't go too close to the house. I was on the same street, but I didn't walk up to it or anything. I didn't want the people that live in there to know I was.
Don't bring. You might have brought Seth with you. Seth was the demon in my episode. Yeah.
So the people who are there now, were they interested at all? Like, I'm always wondering, like, when people leave haunted homes and the new people come in, like, I'm always curious, like, what they experience. Has anyone spoken to the current owners?
No,
I haven't. No. Yeah. I know it's been up for sale multiple times. No one really sticks there. So yeah.
Understandably.
Yeah. I mean, it's come up in some of the local Lamar Facebook groups. People will talk about it, and someone will tag me in it. Hey, Jaime used to live there. It's haunted. And, yeah. So I think it would be fairly easy for me to find out who lives there now, and I would love to hear if they're experiencing anything. But yeah.
Curious about that. I did this like a paranormal investigation with a girl I went to high school with, and she was talking about on Facebook how she had moved into this house, and I felt so bad for her family. They had really gone through it. Their one house had, there was a fire. They'd been living in a hotel for a long time, and then this rental came up, and it was just this great opportunity. And so, she moves in with her kids, and they were there for 2 weeks. This place was so full of activity, they couldn't make it longer than 2 weeks. And so we got reconnected, and I was doing more like paranormal investigating, and someone was like, talk to her and see if you can get over there before they get out. And we were literally in there investigating as they're packing their stuff up.
Wow.
And
that's
it was
crazy.
Yeah, it was bad. And so they got majority of their stuff, and then we kind of waited till evening to really investigate a little bit more. And I'll say, I mean, there's definitely something going on in that house. And I felt so bad, these people, like, you have the situation, you find this house. I mean, I don't want to speak for Jaime completely here, but I mean, when you guys found that house, like, what a cool house. Like, I've
So
seen them,
cool.
and
Yeah.
oh man, and you
The
have all,
history
yeah,
and just had so much going for it.
you just want to like be somewhere and land and have this, create a home. And then all this stuff starts happening, and it's that's so hard. Like,
It
it
is.
takes a
Because,
toll on the families who
yeah.
who go through this. And I know with that particular house I investigated, the girl I know, she said, I told the landlord, we're moving out, your house is haunted. Like, she was flat out like, we're not staying here. Like, she broke
Yeah.
the lease. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I will say I do keep an eye on that house, and I talk, enough with my friend from high school, and to keep up. And people have they're in and
Okay.
they're out. I mean,
Yep.
for rent a lot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the interesting part about that house is we did see, we got a lot of EVPs and, a lot of orbs. We picked up a lot of sounds. But I'll tell you, for me, being in there was their bedroom. It was the master bedroom. It's hard to explain when all you do is get a feeling of something. Like,
Mm.
some walk into a room and there's an energy. And to me, whatever I was feeling, and then one of my other paranormal investigators that were with me, she was experiencing it too. I'm like, we weren't hearing anything, nothing scary was really like happening around us, but we had this horrible feeling of like dread. I
Yeah.
felt like, I got to get out of here. Like, I don't think I can be in this room anymore. And there was just something about that room. I mean, did you ever experience anything like
Oh
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was always just a really, I mean, not always, but when activity was happening, you could feel it first. I feel like it was just a heavy feeling. Um, it was so draining. It's hard to not have a place that you can call your sanctuary, to go home and relax. And then you
Sure.
go home to relax, and you have this heavy, just,
Right.
feeling of dread all the time, always looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
It's just not a way to live.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, has anybody you've interviewed, Austin, kind of talked a little bit about that? Just like that heaviness, or the sadness, or, not even necessarily seeing anything, but feeling things.
Um, I haven't really spoken to anybody that's had those specific experiences. I'd say the closest I've came to that is probably again with that woman Cindy.
Yeah.
She had a lot of I guess like visions and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I want to say she's psychic in some
I
way,
do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but that was probably the closest I'd say. Not she didn't notice anything, I don't think um that was depressing or anything, more of just scary stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably the closest, but I do want to down the line maybe interview like a psychic or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That would be really cool. Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of mediums and things like that could,
That
you
would
know,
be willing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to go in and kind of get a feeling of everything. And yeah, I'm glad you brought up the episode with Cindy. I did notice at the end of that the episode was dedicated to her. Is Cindy no longer with us?
No, she's still alive. I just did
Okay.
that. I don't know why I did that. That was
Okay, I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure. I was
like
like,
an amateur thing. Yeah.
no, I don't think so. I was like, Cindy, no, you went through all of that and then did the interview, and I'm like, oh no.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I plan on redoing. I told her I was gonna refilm an interview with her because like there's just so many things in that video. Like I just wish I could redo it because
Oh,
I
Yeah.
wasn't happy with how it was edited and how I shot the interview and everything.
Oh.
I had like no equipment at the time, so I
Okay.
told her I would redo it, and she's like rewriting a book right now, her book. So
Nice.
she's supposed to let me know whenever that's like done, but I guess it's been taking like a long time, so
Yeah.
yeah.
That's okay. You can revisit that.
Yeah.
I understand as a filmmaker, I understand exactly what you're saying. Like, I don't think anyone's ever like, that's perfect. I did that perfectly, right? You always want to go back and keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
I think so. I had taken a documentary class in school, and the one thing our teacher had told us was, content is king. And I think that is, always remember that when you're doing these, because honestly, like, if you might see something and be like, oh, I wish I could have done that differently. But the stories that you are telling are so like incredible that people will really immerse themselves in that. And so something that might, for you, be like, oh, I hate that. No one's even going to notice because, the stories that you're telling and the way that you're telling them, you're doing it so well that they're not going to even notice those little things. But I know exactly what you're talking about because I look back at some of my other stuff and I'm like, ugh, ouch.
Yeah, I try to get a lot of the story through the narration as well, and I think that's a lot of something that a lot of people don't do on YouTube. Like it's more of like a TV type thing, so that's something I wanted to do on my videos because I felt like I don't know, you can put great stories together with a narrator and some interview clips, but like nobody's doing it really on YouTube. It's
Yeah.
weird.
I've noticed that too. So I think that's another reason you're doing so well. People want that. People want to,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
yeah. So you may have, you might be the leader in, and doing this style of story on YouTube. So
Thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank
you're
you. It
an
means a lot.
excellent storyteller. You've really got that down.
Thank you.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I spend a lot
So,
of time.
how long does it take on average to put together an episode from start to finish? Like from the time you begin to the time it's released on YouTube?
I'd probably say about a month to a month and a half.
Okay.
Okay.
But I mean, that seems like that's not very like that's not a long time, but I do this like I wake up probably like from Monday to Friday. I wake up at like 7:30 and I edit till like 6, 7 p.m.
Wow.
So I put in like I want to say around 50 hours if I had to guess because I edit on the weekends too. But if something comes up like an event, I'll go hang out with my friends or something, you know.
Yeah.
But
You have to take a little bit of a break, right?
yeah, yes, it's a lot. But probably around 50 hours a week for a month and a half.
Wow. That's some dedication.
Yeah, it's tough. You
It
have to
shows
trust the
though. It
process.
shows in the quality of your work. You can tell you're putting in the time for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
That's
yeah,
great.
I mean, at the beginning it's like hard because you want to build the story, so it's really tough at the beginning, but once you get it going, it's easier. But yeah, it's just a lot, you know, it's just so much you can't even put into words about, you know, how just the process in general.
Yeah. Yeah. And you are a crew of one, right? I mean, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, you're there filming it. I heard your dad will come and help sometimes.
Yeah, he helps just move like the camera equipment. He likes to hear the stories and meet the people too. So
That's
he's
really
always he's been curious about the paranormal stuff. So um he's interested in it, but you know, not like me, but he's definitely curious about it too.
that's really cool. That's awesome that he's in there helping you out.
Yeah, he's cool. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
He just needs to not unplug things.
Yeah,
No.
that was a nightmare, but it's okay.
We got it done. It's all
Yeah,
right.
we
Yeah.
did. We did. It felt good.
Are you planning on going with the same style of documentary from now till the unforeseeable future, or do you have some other things that you're kind of kicking around, other projects that you are considering?
So for the foreseeable future, I think I'm gonna stick to a couple more haunting stories. Maybe I might. Actually, I've been considering back to the interviewing a psychic. I found this really cool psychic woman who's kind of like big in the field. Her name's Jane Doherty. She's from New Jersey. So I've been thinking about reaching out to her because she's been on like a lot of podcasts and TV shows and stuff. So I'm thinking if I had to change it up a little bit, that would be the episode.
Okay.
But I'm really trying now to find more haunting stories just because of how much I've seen that these people enjoy it. Like I didn't imagine a video getting 1 million views. Like it's just crazy, and like that story wasn't even like the only place you could hear about that story before was a haunting. So it must mean that people, want the real story and were really interested in that show. Like it must have had a big following.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've said before on a previous episode, it was like the first paranormal TV show I started watching. That would come on and then it just, others started following after that. But I mean, yeah, because how many seasons were there? Just a ton, right?
I think there was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long run for a
Yeah,
show.
it is. It is.
Yeah. So that might be kind of a way to go. I mean, there's so many stories to choose from, and people may want to get out their real stories too, and not have to worry about, anything
Right.
dramatized. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be busy for a long time.
Yeah.
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 Just
But you just have to hunt the people down.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. One of the harder things is like when you hunt these people down is just like Jaime was saying, like a lot of people hit her up like about that show specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I feel like when I reach out to some people, they just think, oh, this is just another message, and kind of blow me off. And
Yeah.
I just wish there was like some way around that. Like maybe I shouldn't mention that I saw them on a haunting or something like that. Like, but then it wouldn't make sense how I found the story. And
Yeah.
it's just,
I think you're doing it right. I think when I read yours, I was like, okay, this doesn't sound like spam. He gave me enough information to where I'm at least going to check out his channel, and see what he's all about. So I think you're doing it the right way.
cool.
I think you'll
Thank
find
you.
some people. Well, you've got it down. You've got that the investigator in you and the filmmaker, and yeah.
And I think
Thank you so much.
it's wonderful, kind of like how you found your calling too.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people struggle. They try so many different things and they're like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But like you took something that was, something that you loved and that you were super interested in. And now you've made a career out of it, which is pretty amazing. It's pretty awesome. So
yeah, thank you so much. That means so much to me. I can't really tell you honestly, but it does. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Well, thank you because we're happy that you came today, and thank you for sharing all the stories on the Ghost Files, which
Of course.
everybody can find on YouTube. Please go watch these stories. I mean, my goodness, they are incredible. Like Austin was saying, some of these stories, these are not your run of the mill. Like you don't hear these again and again and again. These things are happening. It's real people, like you said, Midwest people, and super interesting. So be sure to go check out the Ghost Files on YouTube. And tell us about your socials. We want people to come on and make sure they're following you on your social media.
Of course, thank you. So my TikTok is at The Ghost Files. My YouTube is at The Ghost Files. My Instagram is at The Ghost Files, but there is 2 T in the ghost because the Ghost Files was taken.
Yes. Yes. Feel that. We have that same issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course the account it was taken from hasn't posted since 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Always those people who come and they post a few times and then they abandon it and then it can't by anybody else.
So I'm not on X or Twitter, but I'm on Facebook. The Ghost Files, just search me. I don't know if there's an @ symbol on Facebook, but yep.
I think it's
search it.
Austin at the Ghost Files.
Yeah, I have that one, and then I have like a public professional page. It's just the Ghost Files, but there's a space between each word just because of how they let you put in the name.
Right. And that's the other thing. So on YouTube, it's all one word. I mean, pretty much all together, right? There's no spaces in between.
Yeah,
it's just the Ghost Files all together. Because there is another one too. You don't want to go to that one.
There's another channel called Watcher, I think, and they have like when you search up Ghost Files, it comes up, and they have like a series on their page called Ghost Files or something, and their channel is called Watcher, though.
Okay.
But my username, like I have the username at the Ghost Files on YouTube. I felt pretty lucky to get that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yep.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so excited for you. I think you're doing awesome stuff, and I feel so privileged that I was able to even get that interview to tell my story. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much,
finding me and letting me tell my story.
And tell you how much I appreciate you for letting me come out to your house and film the interview and tell your story and stuff like that. Like, that was just so cool. And it's an experience for me and myself too, like something I'll always remember. And just, like that's kind of like a highlight of what I get to do is just meeting these different people and hearing their stories. And most of them are really cool. And Jaime is definitely probably the coolest person. So thank you.
He's so cool. I agree.
That's awesome. It was the cheese and crackers that did it. I know.
Yeah. You made my night better after it kind of went to crap.
Oh, well, good. I'm happy. I'm glad. I mean, it seemed like it was going to crap, but it all worked out, so it's all good.
It did work out. It did work out.
Yeah. Well, it was so great meeting you. Thank you so much for being on our show. And I know we've gone a little longer than usual.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah. But yes, everybody go check out the Ghost Files. Thanks, Austin.
Thank you so much, Jaime and Jennifer. It was real fun being a part of this episode.
Well, good.
Awesome. Thank you.